That's right, girly girl. Do you think you're gonna remember tomorrow?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I love you, honey, baby.
Love you too.
Yeah. You sleep good, okay? Okay. You're a special girl. I love you.
Love you too.
Thanks, honey, baby. I'll see you in the morning. What's up, fam? Elijah Tyler here, and welcome back to another episode of EXTOL WE. And this week, Azriela and Kailani are my extras, and I am the ordinary. The two videos that went live this last week are Eyes Focused Forward, connected to a video 3.5 years ago in the past called Trying New Things. Now, this last week, it was so incredibly awesome that I got to baptize you two girlies. So our friend Ingrid at church took these wonderful pictures. It was such a blessing how we get to go through, take a look at all of the pictures. As you were getting started out, getting baptized, going into it, like how are you feeling going into getting baptized?
Very, very nervous.
And what was it that you were thinking through and feeling that you were feeling nervous about?
I don't like talking in front of tons of people.
Same thing with me.
Same thing with you. But honey, you got up there and you did so well. There were so many people that came after service and told me how encouraged they were by what you said.
It was a lot easier since I had like 3 days to say.
Three days to sit and talk about it. And Daddy, I chatted with you and we talked about like what was in your heart. And we pulled that out so that it would be right at the tip of your brain. I think it was so fun that people came and they said, we love how Azzy's little feet came up out of the water when I baptized her down. Now, and then when I was praying and asking God how to partner with him in you guys' baptism, God said to pick you guys up and to pull you out of the tank, not to let you guys step out of the tank. And I was like, why? Like, what?
Why do you guys do this?
Now, and with Daddy's clothes, how does Daddy?
Not like getting them wet.
You got it very, 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 very wet. When that's very.
Very. And then Kai Bear with Dad, how do I often feel about my clothes? If we're getting messy or dirty or it's muddy, like how does Daddy often react when stuff gets on my clothes?
Very, very, very intense.
I don't always do a good job, do I?
Like, could you please stop doing that, little children? Please. Could you please? You're not listening.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of getting my clothes wet or dirty. And so the father said, pull them out of the tank. And Daddy was like, why? I'm going to get all wet. Could you tell me so that it would make this make sense? And he wasn't telling me anything. He just said, do it. Now, I pulled Azar, you were the first one, and I jerked you up out of the tank. You're starting to get pretty heavy, girl. Daddy had to put my back into it. But I love this picture. You're flying up, and I was pulling you up onto my shoulder, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? Honey, I love this picture. Like, what does this picture remind you of that we've done before in the past?
Raising Noble Queens, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, where we did the fun video of raising noble queens. What were you doing when you had that pose?
Ninja kicks.
So it was so much fun, girlies, as I pulled you out of the water, that it was so beautiful. Oh, Kaiser, do you remember what you said when they asked you why you were getting baptized?
Why I want to get baptized is because I know Jesus and I want to be with him.
It was so awesome. Oh, you did such a great job. You went down into the water. And what I didn't know is that God had planted an expression of love in me, that when you girlies were getting ready to be born, I had some other friends who were dads, and they were like, when your girls are born, when you have your little kids, your heart is going to explode in love like you have never experienced before. I remember they told me that, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna have to make that up. That
Nope.
Is there another
no, but yeah. Oh, Kaiser, I grabbed you. Oh, honey, it was so special. Now, in this moment, what God did in my heart that I didn't know was gonna happen is that same feeling when you came out of mommy's tummy and you came out of the waters in her tummy, and I caught you guys. Azzy, you were a little purple smurf.
Traffic cone.
Yeah, your head was all coned out. And remember what I called you when you were still in mommy's tummy?
Bert.
Yeah. And you had your meconium all over you, the white gooey stuff, and you're all purple and you had a coney head. And I just whipped off my shirt and I threw you on my chest and I was like, it's okay, Bert. I'll love you. Even if none of the other kids want to play with you, I love you. My heart just exploded, Kaiser, when you came out. It was just so much love. But it was so amazing that when God had planted that love in my heart, that he knew that when I pulled you girlies out of that baptismal tank, that was going to reactivate that in me. And girlies, I didn't experience the same love as when you guys were born. Daddy's heart exploded in more love. I didn't even know it was possible.
That's not true. Anything is possible.
Truth.
With God.
Anything is possible with God. It's so awesome that my video of facing forwards, that the best days are not behind us. They're still in front of us. But I didn't know that it was possible to experience that much more love. But God did. He had planted it in me and was calling it back to life. And so with you girlies, I've been planting words in you guys all along since you were little bitty girls, telling you to watch for stuff. What's some of the stuff that I've been planting in you guys' hearts to watch for from a long time ago? Like, what are some of the things that I've been planting in your hearts to watch for as you guys get older?
Versus?
Verses?
right?
No. What have I told you for a long time in you guys' bodies to be watching for that point towards you guys getting older?
I didn't know you were meaning that. Stinky hairs.
Stinky hairs. Yeah. And then as you girlies
your
get old.
armpit.
Yeah. So I was doing my journaling and you came downstairs, jumped on the cuddler with me, and you snuggled up to me and you're like, hey, Dad, guess what? Like, what did you tell me?
Your armpit stinks.
That's right. I was like, thanks for telling me that, Kai. And then do you remember what did you ask me about your armpits?
Well, my armpit stinks one day.
Yeah. At the breakfast table, I said, yep, kiddos, someday your armpits will stink. And Azzy, what did I tell you to do if your armpits ever started stinking? What did I want you to come and do with me?
And get you
And do what?
and have you smell my armpit.
You smell them. Now, why would Daddy ask you kids to come to me and say, hey, Dad, smell my pits? I think they're kind of stinky. Why would I say that?
That means I'm growing older.
That's right. Now, Kai Bear, in our family, when we're at the dinner table and somebody's done something that's really good, we're going to honor them. So let's say Azzy's done something amazing. How would you honor Azzy?
You stand up on a chair and say, attention, attention, I honor Azzy from having stinky pits.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That's right, which we did. We did honor Azzy as she was getting older. Now, Azzaruzer, how are stinky pits? How is that something that is honoring to us? Like how is it honoring you if your pits get stinky?
It's me standing up and I'm like, I'm going older.
Yeah, it's your body raising a hand saying, attention, attention. Azriella is growing into a beautiful young woman, and her body is operating exactly as God made her to be. And it's raising a hand to say, she is growing older and is worthy of honor. Oh my goodness, honey. This makes me so proud of you. Now, in that, how long ago, Kai Bear, did I start telling you girlies to watch to see if there's changes happening in your body? Was it just last week, or how long ago was it that I started talking to you about that?
7 years.
7 years. You just turned 7 years old, right?
And to her, it would be
9 years.
9 years
Yeah.
ago.
So Daddy has been planting those words in you guys all along so that as you guys moved into these time periods where you're growing and changing, that all of a sudden those words would come out of you. Now, in the video, as a user of trying new things, do you remember, Daddy, I leaned over to you and I asked you, I said, if someone was having a hard time, what would you tell them? Do you remember what you said?
What I'm saying right now.
Yeah. And I said, I know, honey, but what would you say specific? You're like, the things I'm saying in this video. Then I leaned over and I put my hand on you. And I said, what if somebody came to you and they said, Azriela, I'm having a hard time and I don't know what to do. Like, what would you tell someone like that? Do you remember what you said? Daddy remembers because it was so meaningful. You said, pray to God, for the Lord is with you. Don't be afraid, even in the darkest shadows. Do you know why Daddy was asking you that question during that time?
Because he was starting his new business and he was having a hard time.
Now, do you remember saying that to me in the video at all?
No.
No, you don't remember saying it at all. But I do, because, honey, when I leaned over, in my heart, Daddy was asking you for myself, not for somebody else. I was asking you for me. I was freaked out. I was moving from just being an independent agent to being a supervising broker, and I had no idea what I was doing. And so I put grace on your life to say, could you speak to me from the Father? And honey, you prophesied to me, but you don't remember it at all, do you? No. And so, fam, it was so beautiful as I got to watch that video this last week and remember how much that word spoke to my heart and built me up. That sometimes we prophesy to people, we plant words in their lives and move them forward in their destiny in Christ. And we don't even know what we're doing and we don't even remember it. But we're planting things in other people that they can then remember later. And Kaiser Rooser, when we're getting ready for bed, we're in the boys' room and mommy's singing songs, we're just snuggling, getting into bed routines. What do you come over and ask me just before you head down to bed?
What's the password for me tonight?
I say, what's the password? The recording that we listened to right at the beginning of this video. Had you ever heard that recording before?
No.
Oh. And did you remember doing that at all?
No.
Oh. Now, honey, after I tell you your password, then what does Daddy do with you in the night just before I go to bed? What do I do?
So in the night, you come in and say, what was the password? And I say, like, Billy Goat.
Yeah, whatever I tell you. One of them was Billy Goat. One of them was chicken. And then the longest one was in your recording, which was what?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
But that was the code that I planted. And you're sleeping and you don't remember at all. We wake up the next morning and I'm like, honey, did I come in and see you? And you're like,
yes, but I did not.
Yes, but I don't remember.
Like, record me someday.
Record me,
I want to
Dad.
know what it feels like to be sleeping.
And so I think it's so sweet that in Song of Songs, fam, I've been doing experiments with Kaiser Rooser. And I find that if I go in and I cover her up and I speak things to her that exist in her heart from me, that she'll speak to me in the night, even though she doesn't remember. But that if I ask things that she has to work out with her head, she just goes right back to sleep and doesn't respond. But then if I say, honey, I love you, she's like, I love you too, Dad. And I ask her for the password. She tells me the password. But that as long as I'm speaking to her heart, that she'll speak to me even though she's sleeping. And fam, it speaks to me so much of the Song of Songs that it says, while I was sleeping, my heart was awake. And that in Job, it says that God places things in our hearts, that Likewise, Solomon speaks with God in a prophetic dream and works out the massive elements of his destiny, asks God for wisdom, and then wakes up into the physical with his identity and destiny and inheritance from God being transformed in the physical, but he worked it out in dreams in the night. The lessons that I've learned this week with my kiddos is that the best things are not behind me, that God has even deeper things of love and joy and enjoyment with my girlies that I did not think was possible. And that as God planted those things in my heart when they were born, that he wanted to draw those things back out of my heart and call them into greater things. And that as I have prepared my girlies for things coming forward in time by telling them and speaking to their hearts in advance, placing words of affirmation in them such that when they encounter things in life that could be off-putting or concerning, that instead that it becomes opportunities just to be fun and silly and honoring. And then in those places as well where God places things in our lives such that as when we go into times of mystery in the night or as we're going to sleep, that he comes to us and that he speaks to us all throughout the night, speaks his love and affirmation to us, and that we can respond to him, learn and grow with him, and then wake up in the morning as we move into new things, having prophetic words of power and might placed in us to help prosper us in every way. So if you subscribe to what we are doing, at least Azzy, myself, and Kaiser Ruzer, hit the button, hit it, and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you love this video, you didn't just like it,
hit the thumbs down
button. I pray blessings on all of our lives together. I love you guys lots, and I'll see you in the next video.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.